everyone. Welcome back to THU TV. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the broadcast so far. This is my last talk of the day. There will be some more talks with Haya later in the evening, so make sure and tune in for those. But please also give us our feedback and let us know what you guys think. Leave it in the comments. Can't wait to see them. Also, just a last quick reminder for today from me, make sure to go to trojan-unicorn.com/TV to check out the actual THU TV pay-per-view content, which is going to be all the talks that are actually happening here. Well, actually not all the talks. Any talk that is allowed to show what they want to is going to be able to do it. And that pay-per-view TV is available. And it's a really great deal, so make sure and get it. But I am back here with my good friend Ruari, my great friend Ryan, and my good friend David. And we're going to talk, we're joking a little bit because unfortunately there's a little bit of a mix-up and we didn't realize that Ryan was going to be here, but we're decided, hey, let's all get together like a big family and let's discuss the subject that we want to talk about. So Ruari and David I've known for a long time. I actually really have not met you until today, but one of the things that I wanted to discuss a little bit today is they went out there and they made their independent films, and it turns out you've also done some short films as well. And they've used those films. This is a new thing that not a new thing, but a thing that I've seen that's starting to happen is they've been able to take these short films as a means, as a vehicle, as a teaser to pitch larger ideas to studios, right? So why don't you tell them a little bit, Rory, about one of the things that the first time that I sort of met you as you started working on that short film.
I made a short film called Leviathan, which was a science fiction version of Moby Dick, and it was a pitch for a feature film, which is about involuntary labor being used on an off-world colony to hunt these giant alien beasts that have negative energy density mass in their bloodstream that is harvested, which makes them able to travel to other worlds using sorry, I'm blanking here because I'm looking over. But anyway, it's a 3.5-minute short film, and it's all CGI, and there's a bunch of motion capture people in it, and vehicles, and giant landscapes, and it's a bunch of action and monsters.
Yeah.
And I like monsters, so I've been wanting to make monster movies for a long time, and this is like for me is a nice way to tell a story that I think is really, really powerful, and in a new context that it's like the medicine, it's the sugar with your medicine, because it's like an old classic piece of literature that's a great story, but feels a bit old and stuffy, and it's a way of kind of telling a version of that it is wrapped in shiny new clothes.
Right.
And so it's sold to Fox, and Simon Kinberg and Neil Blomkamp are attached as producers, and we're working on the script.
You've been working on the script? Yeah, and so what I think is really cool about it is that, and we'll get back to you in a second, but you were able to basically say, all right, with some much more basic tools than people had in the past, things like the DSLR camera, which I want to talk to you about, David, and just your knowledge of CG, you're able to get a very high production value for a much lower cost, extremely independently. So independent filmmaking used to be, I remember watching some old John Waters films when he would make films, and they're great, but they were really rough in terms of how they look. But by yourself at a low budget, you're able to do something really great. Tell us a little bit about Plug and about how that got made.
So Plug was designed to be a pilot for a TV series.
Right.
It's a 15-minute short film. It's about the last person on Earth, who's a young female protagonist. And we started it, it was supposed to be a 1-minute short film. It turned into a 15-minute short film. And it was supposed to be done in 2 months, and it was done in 4 years. So the short film, we have a script for the whole feature, all series. And we have not sold it, but we sold the short film to a company that takes distribution to TV. So it will be on TV, and we will not be online anymore soon.
Right.
So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But we're still looking for a place for the whole story to land, basically.
Okay. And Brian, obviously, I know there's a bit of a mix-up here, but I know that you mentioned that you've done some short films as well. So tell me a little bit about some of the work that you've done on short films.
Well, the objective is from the films that I've made are a little bit different than I think from the general topic here.
Okay.
Because they're more of a personal adventure sort of thing. I didn't make any of them to sell to a studio or to
Sure.
or to push, you know, an idea or something like that. They were basically passion projects, you know, that when they were finished, that was my reward, the process.
The process.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about some of the films that you've done that you're proud of and you would be able to share with people.
Yeah, the one that I think most people that know me have seen is a short film called Thought of You.
Oh, okay.
And it's a 2D dance film with 2 dancers, and it's all hand drawn. And I had to use a lot of interesting, cool tricks and tips, you know, to get it actually to end up as a short film, because you can't exactly. They're like animated figure drawings, you know, so you can't really flip paper without a big sheet. So I
Right. So
figured out how
what
to
did
do
you
it.
do? What were some of the tricks that you used?
I animated it digitally, but I had to animate each character with 4 different layers, and then in After Effects, I would composite those layers so that they each had different filters put on them, so it felt like a figure drawing.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds pretty cool. That's a really amazing thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I add it up, it's like over 20,000 drawings.
Jesus.
20,000 drawings.
Yeah.
Wow. And then the compositing must have been really kind of pretty elaborate as well.
Yeah.
How long is the short?
It's 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it take to do 20,000 drawings?
Yeah, it took a long time. But I mean, these are also drawings that once you get into that groove, it's just
Right.
you know, one every like 20 seconds, you know, or something.
If you're an animator, yes.
Yeah.
And is that your background, is animation as well?
Uh-huh. Animation and storyboards.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And where do you work? Do you work at a specific studio, or you're independent, or?
Yeah, and right now I'm at Riot Games.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
Prior to that, I was working as a board artist on live action films, most of the Marvel movies. And
Oh, okay. That's awesome. And I know you guys background a little bit, but you should probably remind people. David, you recently just left the industry, right? A little, well, sort of. Let's just call it
It's
sort
not
of.
like I'm dead yet, but
No. All right, he's dead to us. No, but go ahead, David. You've got an interesting story that you've done recently.
yes. Which part?
Why you moved to North
Oh,
Carolina?
why I moved? Yeah. So yeah, 4 weeks ago, I decided to move with my family to North Carolina.
Yeah.
You decided 4 weeks ago, or
No, we actually moved 4 weeks ago to North Carolina. So I lived for the last 10 years in LA. So I've been in the entertainment industry for 25 years now, and I think I've seen a lot, and I love LA. I love working in LA, but I now have 2 little girls, and I don't want to go too far into details, but something very tragic happened to my family in December, and which made us reconsider. And I've realized that life is very short, you know, and that you should use every minute of it in order to be with the people you love. So I decided to start working freelance from North Carolina in a place that's beautiful and with beautiful trees, and with my family and my girls running around in the backyard.
Right.
And hopefully I can make a living like that. But the goal would be from now on to work and hopefully direct short film in the future, but located in North Carolina now.
And before you did Plug, you did a lot of concept art, right? So that
Yes.
was one of the works, and that was the first time that I met you. Is you and I actually sat next to each other when we worked on Tron.
That's correct.
And I was a visual effects guy. It was the first time we've ever done this, where as a visual effects guy and a concept artist, we're actually sitting next to each other, exchanging ideas and files, working very directly for months and months at a time. So we got that light bike sequence looking beautiful that way, right?
Completely, and to go into that direction, to still today, that was probably the best work experience in my whole life.
Right.
And that project really just, when I think about it, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
You know, and being part of the VFX department was just amazing. It really changed my view on everything.
Yeah, it's as it did mine. I think they really should reconsider bringing art departments and concept artists and even storyboarders and combine them much more directly with the people that actually are creating the frames that are out there, instead of just I used to just get handed things like, here, just make this, and it's like, okay, why can't we discuss this a little bit? But you're actually been a director for a long time and doing a lot of direction. I love all of your shorts. There's other shorts that people should watch as well besides the Leviathan that you did. What's the one with the robot, of course?
Blinky.
Blinky.
Yeah.
I love Blinky.
I made quite a few shorts now. I made a short in college called A House on Dame Street, which was, I did graphic design in college, so I had to justify it as a graphic design project. So it's got a full feature-length title sequence at the beginning, which is all typography, and a
Right.
full feature-length title sequence at the end, which is all typography,
Right.
and a very, very short film between those. And once you've made your own film, it's kind of hard to become, toenail texture artist 427.
Right.
Taking orders from honestly a lot of the times directors who haven't a fucking clue what they're doing.
Right.
And so once you get the bug to do your own films, you're kind of like, all right, that's what I want to do the rest of
Right.
my life. And I did have to. I did a previous career working in commercials as a 3D generalist and compositor for about a decade. But in between, I would do short films, and so I did a short film around 2001 called 50% Grey, which got nominated for an Oscar. I guess it was a bad year for animation, and
Shades of Grey.
50% Grey, which was sort of like a short film about this guy in hell.
Oh yeah.
Who
I remember it,
is
actually.
repeatedly trying to blow his brains out to escape out of hell, it was funny, I swear.
It was pretty fun.
I remember it.
It was dark. It was very dark, but it was pretty
yeah,
funny.
that's
And
right.
Blinky's pretty dark as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, they all.
So I think there's a lot of interesting things about it.
It's like this thing where I don't go to therapy, but making films is my therapy for the experience of the previous one.
right. But let's talk a little bit about some of your other experiences. Your short you made. Well, I'm sorry. What was the name of the short again?
Thought of You.
Thought of You.
Yeah.
Are most of them traditional animations?
Yeah.
Or, okay. And you
Yeah.
could use the same method for all your other shorts as well?
Oh no. Once I experiment and find a method and do it, then that's it. Then I'm looking
That's
for
the experiment. It's
yeah,
over.
then I'm looking for the next creative thing that I don't know how to do.
Right. And so tell us about some of those.
After I made Thought of You, I was trying to figure out the next passion project that I want to dive into, and I decided I like comic books, I like animation, so let's put it together. And I made an animated comic app that I had no idea how to do in the beginning. I had no idea how to make an app, but that to me that was the thrill, doing something that I have no idea how to do, but
Wow.
but working through it. To make
And what
something.
did you pick up when you just picked up a copy of Unity or something and started working in there, or?
Well, I had hired some guys to help in some of those areas, but I realized some limitations. I picked up some coding and started to do that, and then I said, this is like Japanese. I can't
My
do
brain
this.
does not work in code at
So,
all.
me either. Yeah.
I had to hire some guys to help me with that part of it, but the actual whole process of and all the limitations of getting an app together, depending on the platform you're using and the business side of it too.
So
It was
it's,
really
it's a
exhilarating.
comic that is presented as an app, or it's an app that lets you make comics?
It's a comic on the iPad, but when you touch the panels, they animate.
Oh, cool! Yeah, awesome.
They
That sounds
come
awesome.
alive and
So you just buy the app and
What's
and you
it?
have a whole.
What's it called?
That's
yeah,
awesome.
bottom of the ninth.
Can I get it on my
Bottom
iPhone?
of the ninth.
Yeah,
Cool.
bottom of the ninth.
I get it now.
So it's an interactive comic book animation app,
Yeah,
and you turn pages on it as well.
yeah.
Okay,
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
that does sound pretty cool. And
Yeah.
how long did that take you through the process of doing that?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Do you still update it? Or? Sorry, I'm taking you off spot now.
Yeah.
No, you can
Okay,
talk.
I'm curious.
Let's all have a conversation.
It wiped me out
Got it.
working on
I
it.
think we could all.
Yeah, I think there's one
share that
common point.
experience.
One common point between the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's just
so
being
bad.
wiped out.
I finished it and went to bed for a month. I was so wiped out. I dropped 40 pounds making it. I was so. It was.
He broke his tooth on a strawberry, for God's sake.
Yeah. See, there you
You
go.
don't remember that?
Oh God, yeah. I don't know.
He got a text from you
I'm
about
basically-
something, and I was like, I had a crappy day. I broke my tooth on a strawberry. It's like, how is that
I'm fucking
possible?
decaying here in real time, man. It's really bad. It's like you don't take care of yourself when you do this stuff.
No, you don't.
Like Leviathan, I was doing 16-hour days every day for a year. I think I had 2 days off in the whole year. And by the end of it, you're like a fucking mess.
Right.
Can I curse? I don't know,
Okay.
whatever.
Well, we'll
you
figure
like.
out.
But you're a puddle. You're just like crawling, going, oh, okay, yeah, that's what it's like during the daytime. Like.
Right. No, I know. It's really, really hard when you got.
And
those
when
projects.
you're done, that's when you're expected to be totally on it because you're in sales mode.
Right.
You finish the project, but you're selling it.
That's a
You're now
very good
selling
point.
it, so you're supposed to be the most together ever, and you're supposed to be.
When you guys are actually
coherently-
trying to sell their
And I'm like,
projects.
okay, what's going on?
Yeah, this
this
I
thing,
agree.
It's
I
really
mean,
good, I swear.
When you are the most depressed because you finished the short film,
Right.
and you have zero perspective on it, zero. You don't even know if it's good, if it's
Right.
crap. You have no idea. Then that's at that point that you're supposed to be shopping it around. And
And you're
Luckily,
supposed
Ryan
to have
didn't have
that
to do
plus
that.
the
Oh,
next
no,
thing
well, you
ready
did
as well,
sell
too.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
You did sell your app, right?
For a few weeks, and then I just made it free.
Okay. Did you make some good money on it?
No.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I like I said, when I was done, I didn't have anything left in me to do any marketing or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, Apple put it on there, like what's hot and all that kind of stuff. So it did okay, but I realized that it's better if I just make it free and then let it get out there and see how it goes from there. Because it really was a passion project.
Right.
But yeah, no, I didn't set me up for the next one or anything like that.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting that you use definitely, you learn some new tools, you figure out new things, you try to invent a new medium, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of awesome to think about, and you use specifically the iPad as an idea, as like, I'm going to make this happen and I can combine both things, and this is a way for me to do it.
Yeah.
So really, really cool. Now, Rory, what's interesting about your story is that it looks so sleek and perfect. Every time people look at it, it's like, wow, that's amazing. But then when you talk about it, it's like, I hacked the crap out of this thing to make it work. But you did manage to do that, a really good job on it. And
I can't animate very well, and it's all animation,
right,
which presents something of a challenge.
right,
So what I did was, there's all these aerial sequences with vehicles and the creatures and stuff like that. And,
but you can you can frame a really good camera.
I know how to animate a camera. I know how to sequence pretty well. So I use that as my crutch to kind of back into shots that I would rather than traditionally choreographing it shot by shot and animating each shot perfectly, I would choreograph the whole sequence roughly, and then have 12 cameras that record the event like they are vehicle-to-vehicle air photography.
Right.
And then I would have 12 long takes from multiple angles, and I would intercut those and find the angles that look good for this bit of animation, and
Okay.
hide the bad animation from this angle, and then keep on bouncing back and forth and refining the animation and refining the camera work.
So you
until-
basically cut before it looked crappy. Is basically it.
yeah, and then even still, I would do stuff like if it's set on a gas giant, so there's clouds everywhere, and if in doubt, I would just have it pass by clouds at the moment. The textures didn't hold up because the camera was too close to that part of the body of the creature or something
Right.
like that, or the vehicles, the textures didn't look good, or there was like a ugly looking highlight on it or something like that. I just more clouds, hide everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really cool. And I think when you had told me about the short from the very beginning, you even showed me the early concept drawings and storyboards, and then suddenly
Did you
like
think I was ever going to finish it?
I didn't think so. I didn't think that was possible, but it was like suddenly it's like, it's been over a year, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, it's done. It's amazing.
You go into burn mode. The final stretch of a project, which is usually the last 2 weeks or whatever,
Right.
where you just don't sleep that much.
Right.
The whole project was like that because there was no deadline except for my bank balance emptying.
Right.
So I had to kind of like race through every step of it.
Right.
From the start. Like
Right.
the start was a race, and it stayed in burn mode the whole way through, which is exhausting, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and I remember that. And I remember actually, David, you and I, when we were at DD, that was the first time that you got an SLR camera, and that's when you're like, I want to do something with this, because SLRs were basically suddenly could do film, and it's like, I want to be able to film off of this thing, and that was your inspiration.
Yes, I mean, before doing that short film, I had done smaller short films at the time I was living in Austin, Texas, and I used a 16 millimeter, a Bolex, and it was such a freaking pain in the bottom, that I thought, my God, I love making movies, but those cameras are really not user friendly, And as soon as I saw the 7D announced, I thought, okay, now I have no excuse.
Right.
So as soon as it came out, I bought it, and I said, okay, now I've got to shoot something with it.
See, I like shooting on film, man.
Well, I mean, it depends. If you have a team to shoot with film, sounds great.
Yeah.
By yourself, it's not fun at all.
Yeah, no, it's very, very painful to do that, for sure. So can you tell us a little bit about some of your work that you do, besides your independent work? I'd like to know a little bit more about stuff you did, the storyboards you did over at Marvel and stuff like that. What are some of the projects you've worked on?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the Marvel movies.
Okay.
All the Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
Awesome.
And all those, been a part of making those. Really great working with those directors. And on my end in pre-production, I'm not as heavily involved in the technology at that point, but I have to be very conscious of the shots that I'm boarding, knowing that there's a crew that's going to go out to shoot it and looking at the schedule, and they only have 2 days in this one location, so I got to limit my shots and setups to 24 or something like that.
Right.
I got to be very, very conscious of that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to hear that you actually have to think about the process of the filmmaking beyond just like, this looks nice. And
It's because I got ripped apart on one film because I gave him too many setups
to
do, and the first AD came to me screaming and yelling, and so I'm like, lesson learned.
Okay, wow. That's interesting.
That's one thing that we don't have to worry about in concept art. Usually, once we're done, people are like, oh yeah, we're gone already anyway. No one can scream at us.
No, well, you weren't gone. That was the thing that I liked about it on Tron. You stuck around, and that helped a lot. That helped the process, and it worked really well. Okay, we're sort of wrapping up around here. We're sort of going on the home stretch. So what would be great is for people to know more about where they can find more of your work and what kind of stuff you can show them. So let's go down this way. So David.
So to watch my short film, it's on Vimeo. It's called Plug, Plug.
And people better do it soon because
it's going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
So go watch it and like it, please. Or if you don't tell me. So if you type Plug short film on Google, it's the first one that comes up.
Right.
So please have a look.
Yeah, that's great. And then what about other work that you've done? Do you have a website that people can go to?
When it comes to concept art, I worked in movies for the last 10, 11 years.
Right.
So I worked on Prometheus and Tron Legacy and Ender's Game.
Right.
So if you want to see that work, go to my website, which is vyleart.com, VYLE -ART.com.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, David.
Thanks.
What about you, Ryan? Where can people find out more information about you?
I have a website. It's just ryanwoodwardart.com.
Okay.
And on the homepage there's a piece that Riot released about a month ago that I 2D animated the whole thing, and it's called Zed, and he's just slashing people up like crazy. It's fight porn, but it was crazy fun to draw, and
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And then your short, people can check that out as well.
Yeah, that's all that stuff's through my website.
Through your website, okay, including your app as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's really cool. So make sure to go to Ryan Woodward Art, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And what about you?
You can see Leviathan and Blanky on my Vimeo page, and my website is ruarirobinson.com. Spelt the way my name is spelt, which I'm not going to put you through now.
Well,
but if you can put a link on the
Ruari,
screen right here. R-U-I-A. Exactly, this is the problem.
Damn it. My dyslexia does not help this situation.
RUAIRI ROBINSON.com. Wait, RuariRobinson.com. Yeah.
Look up Leviathan, you'll get the spelling pretty.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. I also really like some of your old shorts too. That was really not your old commercials, like the one with the dinosaur thingy.
Oh, the caveman and the dinosaur, the milk cows.
Caveman and the dinosaur
fun.
milk shorts are awesome. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
So anyway,
That
thanks
was
so
my
much,
first,
guys.
That was the first thing I ever did in V-Ray, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that was when I switched to V-Ray back in, was it 2004, 2005?
2004. Wow, the early days.
Yeah, 1.5. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it, and thank you for being here.